presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
All right, and welcome to the Middale Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. My name is Jordan Ray, and we're actually going to start with some players. Who knows, maybe they'll be future coaches one day, but I'm happy to be joined by three very talented seniors. Of course, I'm talking about Ja'Cory Fletcher in the middle, Lincoln King to my right, and at the far end we got Ryan Holloway. All right, guys, this is the first time we've been using the multiple headsets here. You guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get to talking here. All right, so Lincoln, I'll start with you here. Now, you missed the last several games last season due to an injury, so I know that had to be painful for you being on the sideline and not being able to help your team in those games. What was it like for you getting back out there and playing?
Really, I just had to stay patient, you know. I had to guide some of my teammates because we got a lot of young guys out there, you know what I'm saying? So, but they're coming through pretty well, and we just take it day by day, and it's pretty exciting, you know. But I kind of like the process we got going here with the different coaching staff and stuff like that. You know.
Do you like the fact that you're wearing different hats on the team? You know, we'll get to punting here later on.
Ooh.
But, I mean, you're playing receiver, and clearly you were the go-to guy, a wideout, but you also got a little bit of quarterback. And what was your understanding heading into the game as far as when you would play quarterback, if you would play quarterback at all, or, you know, how that would go?
Well, really our plan was just to spread the ball around a little bit. You know, I had to play a couple positions, but I had to do what I do to, you know what I'm saying, to help us get little yards and, you know, move the whole offense. That's what I was helping out to do. And it didn't work out in the end, but that was the plan. You know.
All right, and Ja'Cory, similar question to you. I mean, I'm always interested to ask guys that play on both sides of the ball. I mean, you're listed as a starting tight end H-back, I believe. Or you're in the rotation for that?
Yeah, I just started practicing that like last week.
Okay, and then you're one of the defensive ends.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many snaps were you getting on offense, or roughly? Were you like, and that by how many? I mean, like percentage wise, were you in 1 out of every 3, 2 out of every 3, or what was it?
Probably 2 out of every 3. Because towards the beginning of the game, I was in a lot. Then towards the end, I wasn't. So.
Okay, did you feel like you were real conditioned for that? It wasn't very hot outside, but that's a lot of snaps, and obviously you want to have a lot of energy when you're on defense, playing defensive end. So how did you feel about how your body adjusted to all the snaps you were getting?
Yes, sir. Summer Pride, you know, going through Summer Pride, it got me pretty conditioned, and, you know, my adrenaline get pumping. So, and I'm a guy who likes staying on the field, so I don't really like coming off the field much, especially I like helping my team out as much as possible. So I'm a guy that likes to stay on the field as much as possible.
Okay, and Ryan, you weren't with the team last year. Now, what was your football experience before this year?
I had some experience, very little experience from middle school, but yeah, not really much high school now.
So you didn't play much as a freshman, definitely not as a sophomore, junior?
I came back sophomore year, summer.
Okay.
And then I left.
Okay, so this was really your first time playing much in a couple years.
Yes, sir.
And so, a couple years where you hadn't been hit that much, maybe some scrimmages, of course, and then I know there's probably some practices where you go live and, you know, you can go at it. So what was that like getting back out there, and then you get the ball some, and now you got some defenders that they want to hit, you know, they want to bang you up. What was that like?
It felt good being back on the field, for sure. I felt like that's what I like more, a little bit.
Now, it seemed like you did have to deal with, and this is something I'll talk to Coach about, but, you know, a lot of things are changing with the team. Piedmont, they have a system they've had for a while, and it seemed like they did have a player in the backfield a lot.
Yeah.
What was your mentality when you realized that was going to be the case, that you're going to have to get free from a defender right away?
I mean, it really didn't faze me, really. What's the name? Yeah.
You weren't too worried?
No.
Were you playing any on defense?
No, I don't play defense. Just straight running back.
Just from, okay. How do you feel about your conditioning, energy-wise?
I felt good. I was good. I wasn't tired at all.
Okay. And what do you, when the team is maybe struggling some on offense, you're on the sideline while the team's on defense, are you talking to your coaches, players? What's the messaging like?
It's like getting them more pumped up, getting the energy up. You know, even though we're down, you still got to have some type of energy for the defense, you know.
Ja'Cory, I thought you really came alive in the second half. I just noticed you making plays. What was anything different in how you were playing?
Nah, it was just a wake-up call, really, because, you know, last year I didn't play much defense, so I really had a lot to prove this year and prove that I fit in. So after halftime, it was just like, okay. It's like, okay. So it was time for me to just kind of start playing at my forward. I got the feeling of it, so it kind of came natural to me. So.
What was this challenge with Piedmont? Because, you know, you play kind of an outside position. What was the challenge defending outside runs? Because they did have success with that.
They just send a lot of blockers your way. So they trust their guys to block you off the edge, and you got to trust yourself to beat them off the edge. So, and, you know, Piedmont's a run inside type of team, so you got to play inside too. And as a defensive end, you want to get in your 2-point stance and, you know, get to the quarterback. But a lot of times you ain't going to play teams who pass or who get in shotgun a lot for you to get to your craft or whatever.
You're definitely not going to play very many teams like Piedmont.
Nah.
And you wouldn't see them in the playoffs again. So, Lincoln, did you play any on defense?
Not this game, but I plan to start on give me a little bit of dog this game coming up Friday. And I'm going to show you.
Okay.
What can do defense, too.
We're going to play on safety, somewhere in the backfield?
Yes, I'm going to play dog.
Okay. Now, you were put in a position where you had to punt as well, and I know I think DBC, the special teams coach, said that, you know, you were in line to punt, but then the starting punter, Dominic, unfortunately got hurt. When you were, how prepared were you? Like, how many reps do you usually get punting in practice during the week?
Well, I mean, I punt a little bit before practice starts, but that's about it. You know, it's unfortunate that Dom went down because I was like our main piece for punting, but
yeah, it sure was. How do you feel about how you handled the punting, given that you had to fill in?
It was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had one pretty good one. At first, it was a little rough though, because I had the jitters. It was in game. But.
Well, I know at some point this season, we're gonna see a fake with you, because with your speed, got to try it. I'm not assuming it's going to be anytime soon. Maybe save it for district play. Do you find that when the team is having a hard time scoring that you want to play quarterback, or?
Oh yes, sir. I love having the ball in my hands, commanding it. I love giving the rocks to my athletes out to the field. That's what we need.
He did have a nice catch on I think it was a middle screen.
Yes, sir.
Pass may have been thrown a little bit behind you, but you still caught it and got some yards. So do you feel like the timing of that with you and Valor is going to get better?
Oh, yes. All it takes is just a little more time. We're still like a young team, and it's like we're putting missing puzzle pieces in, you know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
So give it like day by day. I'm telling you, like 2 more weeks. I'm telling you, can't nobody see us on that field.
Was there a lot of frustration, guys, at halftime, or were you guys going to be – did you guys – the coaches have a patient approach, or what was halftime like from your perspective,
You want
gentlemen?
to go first? Or?
I'll go first. Our coaches knew this was like more of a learning experience for us because it's like our first time going into battle as a new young team. But we sat down and we had to talk, teammate to teammate. And we had to tell them, you're going to walk out like a dog or you're going to give up. And we walked out like a dog.
Yeah. Anything you can add to that, Ryan?
I mean, there was a lot of emotion in the locker room, for sure. We just had to settle down. Coach came in there. He settled us down. He told us we're still in the game. It's only halftime.
Yeah.
Got another half left.
Was it the same after the game? Was there just a let's relax mentality, or was it Okay, no challenging anyone's manhood yet.
Nah.
Okay. Do you guys feel like these non-district games, like, you don't want to lose them, but at the same time they don't count against your playoff seeding? Is that ever even talked about? I know you want to win going into it, but do you ever talk about, hey, it's okay, it's the district games we want to win?
I mean, really, it's really a game is just a game, even in district. So we want to win them all. So, going in this week, we took Piedmont personally. We take that loss personally. It was a wake-up call for some of the guys. The young guys going to goof around a lot. So it was a wake-up call. They came in more locked in. We had 2 great practices so far. So we're going to keep it rolling this week.
I was going to ask you about that, practicing on Labor Day. You get the day off from school, but at some point you got to get up, maybe you got to sleep in some because you do need your sleep after all, and then you got to get to practice. What was practicing on Labor Day like? Is it better do you like practicing on days you don't have school?
I would say definitely, yes, sir. That injury was pretty good Monday.
Yeah,
I have to say.
I mean, it was different because you got to sleep in more, of course. But after something like that happened on Friday, you kind of want to get back on the field and work on what you messed up on. So,
all right, and Ryan, it got hot again. It hadn't been hot that often today. How was practice today? This is a Tuesday, of course.
Practice was great. We got a lot better. 1% every day.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys watch film any on your own? Do you watch just with the team? How does that work?
Go ahead, Link.
Okay, I would say we watch film on our own after practice in our free time, and then we have certain days of the week we do it as a team. We break it down.
Okay, and how much of the film this week is going back to the Piedmont game, or do you guys already have some film on maybe Carl Albert scrimmages?
We're pushed past Piedmont. We carry that L with us, but we just use it to fuel us. We game planning for Carl Albert.
Okay, so speaking of Carl Albert, it's a Mid-Dale school. Obviously, they're Carl Albert. They got a lot of state championships. They won 3 in a row. But I'm sure you guys know some of those players going
sir.
back. Do you guys talk any with Carl Albert, some of the Carl Albert seniors? Have you play against them in middle school and even grade school and stuff like that? Ryan, I'll start with Ryan here. Do you know any Carl Albert players personally?
I got my cousin over there.
Oh, your cousin?
I talked to him, yeah.
What's your cousin's name?
Gavin Edwards.
Okay, Gavin Edwards. All right. Have you talked to any this week?
No, I haven't talked to him this week. But I was on the phone with his brother. He
Okay.
said we both having 3 touchdowns.
Okay,
My
both.
defense going to stop them. Make that right.
Yeah.
Got to stop him. Come on, man.
Let's hope he's half right. All right, Jakari, what about you? You got any acquaintances on that Carl Albert team?
Sadly, yeah. I grew up with one of their edges too, LeBron Royal. So it's we go back and forth. It's always been a competition between, even when we was both on JV, we always went back and forth. So this is definitely gonna be fun on Friday. It's a little more personal now. So.
Okay, I know I'm familiar with LeBron, and yeah, he's a really good player. So,
yes, sir.
Hopefully, you guys are ready for him. Lincoln, you got any acquaintances on that Carl Albert team?
I know a couple people. We lost one of our dogs to them. He decided to switch teams, and so we got to show him what's up coming Friday.
That's Dustin Anderson, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll see how often he gets to play for him. Any thoughts about the team? What do you watch? I mean, I assume you watched. They scrimmaged, I think, Evan Memorial a week or two ago. What's anything you guys have noticed about this different Carl Albert team? Is going to be a little different than last year.
We don't really we taking it as we take every team we all know Carl Albert's a good team. They're very disciplined in what they do. So them losing players, I mean, it's a big role on them, but they still gonna stay disciplined and do what they need to do. So we can go in that game and be disciplined too, and hopefully come out to win. So.
All right, we'll keep having good practices, and at some point I know the results will show. Last question. Who is, I got to ask this since I'm also a teacher there, I don't have any of you guys in my class, but who is your favorite teacher at Middle City High School, past or present?
I gotta go with my own coach, DBC. It's fun being in his class. So
yeah, that's easy to believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one hard. I'm gonna have to go with Coach Wall.
Coach Wallace. Oh, you like science, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. It's good. Ryan?
I like Mr. Harris. He's a cool guy.
Okay, that's U.S. history?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we cover some different – and DBC's math, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
we got math, history, and science covered, so no English, but I wouldn't have picked that either myself. So, all right, well, these guys are going to be playing Carl Albert, and we'll talk more about this game with Coach Washington, but they'll be going to play Carl Albert. 7 o'clock is the kickoff time, but pregame is 6:30. Please watch the Midwest City broadcast, of course, with myself and Tom Carpenter, as the Bombers and Titans will square off yet again this coming Friday. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. And coming up after the break, we will be talking with Coach Washington. It's the Midwest City Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Download our free apps on Apple and Android devices. Plus, find us on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Search Oklahoma Sports Network and watch from anywhere.
At Tommy's Express Car Wash, we know how to love your ride. Try the Works Wash with our signature 14-step cleaning process, engineered to shine and shield your car from the elements. From breaking down dirt and bugs with our Detox Pre-Wash to restoring your vehicle's finish with our ceramic body wax. Give your car the best with our Top Wash. Then complete the clean with free vacuums and mat washers. Download our app and get your first 30 days of the works for free. Tommy's Express. Love your ride.
If you've lived in Oklahoma long enough, you'll know that we get extreme weather. With that extreme weather comes hail damage to your roof and an insurance claim. When that happens, there's not a better company to deal with on your insurance claim than Cantrell Roofing and Construction. Since 1987, Cantrell Roofing and Construction has proven to be the best in the business, and always remember, got hail? Call Cantrell. Call them at 405-642-8558.
Celebrating 10 years. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the Middle Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network, which, by the way, is brought to you by not one but two Bomber grads. We got Toonie Buys Houses, led by Midwest City graduate Channing Chamberlain. Toonie Buys Houses, they buy and renovate homes, they lease and own or finance homes. Real quick, here is the phone number to call. 405-931-3046. Also, Intertwined Hearts Ministries. Scott and Alicia Young with biblical-based counseling. They offer that, and they're over on Reno, over in Midwest City, and they were also Midwest City graduates. Biblically-based counseling for individuals, but also for married couples, engaged couples, and they've done a lot. They put a lot of time and effort into that. So, Intertwined Hearts Ministry. Okay, happy to be joined by Midwest City head coach Washington, Coach Jacquez Washington. Coach, you've been a part of a lot of football games, a lot of high school football games. Mm-hmm. This is your first one as a head coach. What was that feeling like when it was about to begin, knowing that this time, this is your team now?
Just taking moments to take it all in. Traveling out to Piedmont, and shout out to Coach Hall and his staff and that school for their hospitality, and the locker room setup, everything was amazing. And just watching and just really just sitting back and just watching our kids prepare for the game, and just trying to make sure that it was loose enough to where we weren't tight. And we got a lot of kids who haven't really played on the varsity level and got a lot of experience, and just making sure that it's just like practice. It's just a couple more people's in the stands and they'll turn the lights on. That's pretty much it. But just taking every single moment in, the talking to the refs, the coin toss, the flow of the pregame thing, stuff you don't think about as an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of like, all right, we're just out there, and okay, coach tells me to go over here at this time, and so we show up at this time to do Indy, and then do PAT and do punt and whatever. It's kind of all scripted out on my end, and just like, okay, the clock is at 37, we need to be doing something, and so then you just get the kickoff, and you just the anticipation of, first of all, the first football game of a season in general, and then just like, we need a timeout. That's my job.
Yeah.
And so just the small things and enjoying it. The result didn't go how we wanted it to, but that happens. It's football. You win some, you lose some, and it's just about the lessons that you learn.
Yeah, so you mentioned some things that you may not have thought about as an assistant coach, like given the pregame talk. Did you know, like, okay, you want to be a good motivational talk, or do you want to keep it simple? I mean, what was your mentality there?
The main thing is, like I said, like I just talked about, we had a lot of guys who were antsy and anxious, hadn't played a lot of snaps, really just trying to relax them, calm them down, and understand they're going to make mistakes. It's about the next play. So what now what, whether it's a good play or a bad play, so we can get focused on playing one play at a time. It wasn't a rah-rah speech. They're rah-rah'd enough.
Right.
It wasn't it was just trying to get them to shift their focus into just, the moment, winning each little moment in a game. The game is comprised of, that game in particular was 152 snaps of who can execute one of those 152 at a time. And, obviously that got away from us, but, that's what I want to focus on. That's what I'm going to talk about on a daily basis.
All right, and you also mentioned coin toss. Do you have a philosophy about what you prefer? I didn't see who won the coin toss. I just know we got the ball first. And did you usually have a preference on the road, which side of the field you defend, or all that? And
it depends. The wind, everything goes into a factor on deciding on what we're going to do with a coin toss. I wanted to start that game fast offensively, so I wanted to take the ball if we won the coin toss and go ahead and, just go put it on tape and let's go get up or strike up the band early. And so it all depends on, if the weather's bad, whether I want to, focus more on fielding the ball with the weather and all those things. So it's just a little bit of, I don't have a hard stance like we're going to kick the ball off and that's what we're going to do. So, for that game, I felt like we wanted to start with the offense and start fast. And we moved the ball a little bit that first drive, then shot ourselves in the foot and had to punt. But, that's what it is.
Was there anything about Piedmont that was surprising? Like you prepare for them. They are well known for their flex bone offense and, the fact that they've gotten bigger and bigger as a high school as they're moving up the 6A ranks when it comes to enrollment and stuff like that. They've been 5A for a long time, but also they've had their system going for a while with Coach Hall, who you mentioned. Was there anything about how they were able to play that surprised you?
Not really. I knew, 7 years in, I had the chance of playing against Coach Hall when he was at UConn, when he was the OC out there, and I knew they would be disciplined. I knew they would do their job, play in and play out, and it was on our end of, making sure we read our keys and fit where we were supposed to fit defensively. And offensively, I knew Coach Wright, the DC over there, and I knew the D-line coach I'm working with, Coach Heat, that they would play hard. They would be where they were supposed to be. They would tackle. And so, really wasn't a surprising game. I don't think we answered the bell.
Right. Well, on defense, I thought, especially after a couple possessions, you guys started to defend their inside run effectively at times. Now, at times they got a good gain, but at other times you tackled them for no gain or maybe a loss. But when they got to the outside, that's where, they started to get big chunks of yards. What do you think was the difference there in how you're able to be better in the middle than maybe versus the outside?
I think it was each play of just a guy or two just doing their job each play. And when you sit back and look at it, and it's just like that offense could get your eyes to have wandering eyes. When you get hit on a rocket toss the first play and it goes for a touchdown because of a misalignment, now, your inside guys are like, I'm going to stop the toss plays. And then they hit you with the dive. And then they start hitting you with the dive, and the DBs and the perimeter guys like, I'm going to stop the dive. And nope, now they hit you with a toss. Of just understanding that we're not playing 7-on-7 football. We're not playing backyard football. Each one guy has an assignment each play, and it's up to them to fulfill that assignment to the best of their abilities. And Piedmont is a team that will expose that. If there's one guy who's not covering the dive, and there's one guy who's supposed to be on the quarterback that's not on the quarterback, and another guy that's committed to the pitch, and you're not taking care of the pitch, you're going to be in for a long game. And it was just it was amazing to see. It was a teachable moment to where, you can go 1st and 10, we get a stop on one play, and then second and 10, they run the same play, and one guy commits to doing somebody else's assignment, and then now, that's a 12-yard gain. and then you go back to that same formation the next play and you get a stop. So it's literally just like they test your eye discipline and your assignment discipline.
Yeah. And I was curious about your defensive philosophy, at least what you can say about it, because when you sent me a depth chart, it was defense, 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and then your normal secondary positions plus a nickel back. Now, that may be splitting hairs because, you can move players around and they can be more of a linebacker or more of a whatever, wherever you put them. So, but what's the basic philosophy with that type of alignment?
We went in there to try to show them a 3-down front, and that way we had a little more speed on the perimeter to play the quarterback, and try to keep everything to where we were going to set edges, which we did not do a good job of. But that was the philosophy going in that game. As far as presenting them that picture, I've seen them struggle in the past with pictures like that. But kudos to them. They were well coached. They did a good job. And it's just up to us as a staff and myself to keep coaching our guys and getting them to the point to where we can have all our bullets in the chamber.
Offensively, it did seem like a problem was they consistently had a guy in the backfield pretty quickly. Do you feel like that's fixable?
Yeah, and like I said, there were at one point in time when you looked up, there were 2 freshmen and a sophomore out there. With, once Dunn went down, Cochran.
That was a big one.
We had 2 freshmen out there, a sophomore, a junior, and I'm trying to think if we had a senior out there. And this is a lot of kids who hadn't played big-time 5A ball, and so, it's there's one thing to show a kid until you have to experience it. And, just being out there on that island and giving up a play and then getting your head down and, they find a guy they feel like they want to target and start pressuring. It's going to be a learning curve. I think the kids we got out there can do it. They have the ability to do it. It's just about continuing to coach them to have some tools in their belt, some technical tools in their belt in order to get it done.
Injury-wise, I mean, I know you don't want to go into much detail about that, but you did have some players down. Do you feel like, was it some cramping or what? Or were you guys hit hard with injuries besides Dom?
We came out of the game pretty good. I mean, some bumps and bruises. Like I said, we got a bunch of puppies out there.
That's right.
So there's a little difference from playing a big-time 6A, 5A football game than it is middle school and 9th grade. I mean, there's some hitting going on. There's some collisions on both ends. And so, there's some small bumps and bruises, but we're all good to go.
Okay, and what I've noticed over the years of announcing games is early in the season, at least it seems that way the last couple of years, you'll see some adjustments for referees as well. There was a lot of flags called, which I can kind of understand that and even appreciate that early in the season because, you got to establish, the players got to know what is a penalty and what isn't. But there was a sequence in the third quarter where I guess there was a combination of a roughing the passer penalty on them and holding penalty on Midwest City, and they weren't sure what to do. Was that basically, and that took that was quite a delay. Was that basically it in a nutshell that happened there, and how does that affect the team if at all?
I don't. It shouldn't.
Right.
It shouldn't affect the team. We don't control the refs. We don't control the other team and how they behave and how they talk and how they carry themselves. We can only control the Bombers. We can only take care of our 20 square feet. So it's my job to work the refs and talk to the refs, but it's also my job to coach my team and make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do right. I think the sequence of plays is the guy threw a flag and forgot after Valley got hit off on the sideline. And, so they marked off the 15 originally, and then Coach Hall, to his credit, remembered that there was a flag on the sideline. Somebody in the box must have told him. So we get lined up, and then they call it back. They stop the play and say, hey, there was a holding. And, how it got marked off and what happened, I don't think was accurate, but that doesn't have anything to do with the outcome of the game. The refs are part of the game. It's a beautiful game. If you allow the refs to be an excuse, then we're never going to get anywhere.
Sure. So you get Labor Day where no school, but you get to practice.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the benefits of that, and how have you've had a couple practices in since then? How have practices been this week?
I think the kids came out on Monday, responded to the challenge of the outcome of that last game, because you can get some situations to where you get beat like that to where kids are like, hang it up. I think they understand that it's a process. We got here in June, and the base stuff that we're trying to still implement is still being taught and trying to get corrected. They came out with energy. They came out with enthusiasm. They came out eager to learn and be coached. So that's been a positive about this week. And, we're showing them the tape. They can see that, I didn't tackle that play. Or I was misaligned that play. Or, I didn't block that guy this play. Or, this run game was designed to hit between these, and I'm trying to bounce it. You don't know until you don't know.
Yep.
And then you see it, and then it's up to you to start trying to get it corrected. It's up to us as a staff to try to figure out ways that creatively that we can get the information to the kids in a way they can understand it and go and execute it.
Okay, well, let's talk Carl Albert then. They're a great program, 3-time defending champs, won plenty of state titles before then. You've mentioned Coach Dunn was helpful to you when you got the job. What's interesting, he and Coach Jones from Del City as well, what's interesting is they both lost their first game at their current position. In the case of Coach Dunn, it was here 4 years ago. So, but that was 4 years ago, and of course they've gotten a lot better since. They did have a lot of really good seniors on last year's team depart, but you figure that they're going to plug in pretty well. So I know you probably watched some videos of their scrimmages. Any thoughts about this particular Carl Albert team?
They're going to be well coached. They're going to be a competitive team. It doesn't matter really once you get to programs who are accustomed to winning and have a winning tradition. Like each kid that's coming up through the pipeline is going to understand what it takes to win. Is going to be committed to do what it takes to win. So we're going to have our hands full, just like we did last week. And it's up to us to respond and do what we're coached to do. And, us coaches is putting our kids in the position to be successful. Coach Dunn does a heck of a job. His offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator do a heck of a job. Their strength and conditioning program is good. We know that those kids are going to be ready to play, especially with a crosstown rivalry.
Now, this has been your first home game. Do you have a certain type of tradition you want to start with games here, or even thought about that?
No, I haven't really thought about that. I'm thinking about trying to figure out how we're going to beat Carl Albert.
Of course. All right. Well, we look forward to that matchup, and please tune in to the Midwest City broadcast this Friday. 6:30 is when we'll start our coverage. 7 o'clock is the kickoff. As Midwest City takes on Carl Albert, it'll be Carl Albert's first game. Midwest City having a game under their belt. So, all right. Well, Coach, thank you again for your time, and we look forward to talking to you next week. And next week we will look ahead to Putnam City West, another road game for Midwest City, and we'll look back to the Carl Albert game. But until then, thank you for watching the Midwest City Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.